I got a challenge from one of our community members to do a Ghost Flame Autobomber build triggering marrow shards on use, and well, I accepted the challenge. Now, Ghost Flame is a channel spell doing fire and necrotic damage over time, and you can spec this skill into doing a lot of different stuff. You can make Ghost Flame detach after channeling for a short duration, and even having it seek out enemies. You can make it into a buff for specific types of minions, consume ward to autocast a necrotic beam on enemies, and even have it unleash a powerful curse called Decrepify. But I was here for a different challenge, to make it autocast marrow shards while channeling through the nodes on the upper left side of the tree. And as always, before I went full off-meta pixel mode, I did my usual build research. And what I found astonished me. Ghost Flame and Marrow Shards are only used in 2.7% of builds on last debug tools, and only 3 builds in total use both of them. To me, that's a bad sign. But then again, I'm all about exploring bad signs. Was there an off-meta hidden gem here? I had to find out. And luckily, I had a level 100 Acolyte lying around ready for new adventures. I pumped 15 points into the Warlock passive tree to unlock Ghost Flame and got rolling. And I started going straight for the Marrow Shards nodes, before going for the movement speed nodes to actually move around while using Ghost Flame. But what about Marrow Shards itself? Well, the skill tree is pumped with insane multiplicative damage and crit multiplier nodes. One node even gives 100% more multiplicative damage if you're willing to let Marrow Shards consume one of your minions in the process. And obviously, that is a good reason to ensure you have some minions as well. Safe to say, I was ready to embark on a new adventure and started floating around in echoes with Ghost Flame triggering Marrow Shards on enemies. It felt nice, and with being able to spec Marrow Shards into doing such high damage, enemies were no match. And to get the huge damage bonus from consuming a minion that we just looked at, I also recruited zombies to the ranks. These could even trigger Marrow Shards on enemies themselves when they died, and I could wear the legendary cycle of Putrescence ring to resummon them without clicking a single button. The whole setup started making sense, and at 158 corruption we were thriving. But what goes up has to come down. We started pushing higher corruption, and for every shade we defeated, the wall of the void was harder and harder to break through. What was an easy breeze at lower corruption now felt like an endless mountain. Marrow Shards couldn't be triggered fast enough from Ghost Flame to overcome our powerful foes, and the zombies told me they couldn't give me a higher chance than 30% of them triggering Marrow Shards on death. If you like this video so far, feel free to click the thumbs up like button and subscribe to stay tuned for the final build guide video. We tried everything. Turned every stone we could. I specced into the node, consuming ward to cast a necrotic beam at nearby enemies, but even that wasn't enough damage output to defeat our foes. We tried detaching the Ghost Flame after channeling in order to have more of them active to in turn trigger more Marrow Shards. But the enemies had grown smarter. No way they would stand in the middle of a detached Ghost Flame like that. They had one goal in mind, to wipe us off the face of Eterra. I got desperate and even tried spamming Marrow Shards directly, but it was futile. Our mission had failed. We were defeated. That night, the zombies didn't speak. Not even the stereotypical zombie sounds they made just to fit in with each other. It was total silence. But then one of them spoke up. It told me that a lich wasn't meant for meddling with necrotic damage over time spells so close to the Warlock mastery, or even posed as a necromancer by summoning minions only for the sake of doing more damage with Marrow Shards. But I wasn't born to be conventional. I was destined for a different path, where a lich could freely express herself without being constrained by outside expectations. But then I remembered something that the Observer spoke of in the Great Mountain Ascent, the tale of 6 undead warriors whose souls eternally lingered in the well-ruined college, left to wander the halls, their bones collecting dust, their purpose long decayed, their souls bound by the one who could see the true world. So I went to the college to seek out the vision, to find the truth. But there was nothing to be seen. No skeletons, no trapped souls. Only the whispers of my own doubts. The doubt of my existence, the doubt of my purpose. But then a vision came to me. Not as a thought, but as a collective memory of the world. The Observer showed himself again, and this time he came with the missing piece, the True Sight glass amulet. Only by wearing this amulet and looking through the glass could the skeletons be revealed, and eventually fulfill their destiny. So I looked into the glass, and suddenly they all stood before me. They didn't need life, they needed purpose. And I needed explosions, many explosions. If the meta wanted me to stay in line, I'd break the line entirely. So we trained. The skeletons taught me how my spells could be more powerful whenever they left this world. How their deaths could transfer energy over to me so I could blow them up again. How they could come back to life into this realm without any involvement from myself. How their sacrifices could do more damage to enemies the larger our army was. And in turn, I did my own sacrifice. I slashed my own life in half to gain the ancient power, giving much more damage with sacrificing a minion with more health than myself. I danced with death, who bestowed upon me a force tripling my damaging power, igniting myself in exchange for more spell power. And suddenly, the zombies stood before us yet again. They returned. They came back, ready to give their lives for the final battle of this world. They showed me how their deaths could make me sacrifice the skeletons while spending half the amount of mana, how they could reincarnate from the dead skeletons, how they could make me cast marrow shards onto enemies when they died. In the next battle we rose as one, flesh, bone and spirit moving in perfect rhythm, death fueling life, life fueling death. The sky darkened, the earth split. Every explosion was a hymn, every scream a verse. We weren't just fighting, we were rewriting the meta itself. We are now at 1018 corruption, having accomplished what we set out to do. But we want to pass the torch. Are you the chosen one? If you want early access to the final build guide video up to a week before others, make sure to click the join button and join as a Knight member. And as always, remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons to stay tuned for more videos. And since last time we have gotten 2 new Knight members on our channel, Andreas Conrad and Daft Games. A warm welcome to both of you. I'm so thrilled to have you as members in our community. You're the best. Now if you want to see more of my last Epoch journeys, click on the video card on the screen.